Our first guest is here and ready to go. And
I know, because I admitted her.
What, honey?
I had to admit her.
Yes, you did. So let me just say this. She's one of my favorite people. Her family is like my family. I got to watch her grow up when she was on American Idol on season 5 and did so great. She went on to many TV shows, including Smash, that a lot of people are addicted to, not just Jordan. And she went on to be star on Broadway in Waitress. Then she went on to the West End to originate the role in Waitress, and then they asked her to come back and close the show on Broadway. She was so brilliant in it. I don't know if you got to see her, but look, it's all on YouTube because I snuck my camera in a lot of it. Please welcome the beautiful and talented and smart Katharine McPhee Foster.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Katharine.
You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, there you are.
Hi.
Hi, beautiful. She's very LA right now. She's in her car going to the market.
My car.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
You're not driving right now, right?
No.
I am not driving. I had to be somewhere at 2 o'clock. It's very odd to have anything actually to do or go, but I actually had something to do at 2. So I just figured I'd get there early and then just sit in the parking lot like an LA person would do, like waiting for an audition. And talk to you guys.
Yay.
So, Kat, can I just ask you a question?
Sure.
So, have you had to audition much in your career?
I auditioned a ton, and I have auditioned a ton. I think people probably don't realize that I auditioned so much because I came off of Idol and, I worked and I put out albums and things like that. But I silently, unless you were someone who was close in my life, I didn't publicly. I mean, social media has made things so different now. You can let people know what you're doing all the time. And so yeah, I was in my car weekly, daily, going to auditions post Idol, but even pre-Idol, I was auditioning for stuff. And yeah, I mean, hundreds and hundreds, and I mean, if not thousands of auditions. Most of them you don't get. That's just the reality. Is you'll get a call back, but most of them you don't get. And
true.
It's a timing game. That's it. What it is.
Yeah, it's a timing game, and also I really believe that you either are. I mean, if you're talking about straight acting, I don't know if we're talking about being recording artists, which is a totally different thing. But you're either the part or you're not. They're either going to think that you're inherently that part, that person, or not. So you could be a better actress than maybe somebody, or better actor, but like you just don't have the same qualities that that they're looking for. And sometimes it's political, but yes, the answer is I've auditioned a ton. I still audition. The series that I started before COVID, we did 14 episodes. We did 4 episodes. It's a show called Country Comfort on Netflix, and I auditioned for that, and I hadn't auditioned in a really long time. So because I was doing Broadway and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, auditioning is just a way of life if you're an actor, right?
Right. And have you had like some musical theater audition experience that you could share with everybody?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't audition in New York City as much specifically for Broadway, and most of my audition work has been in Los Angeles. But one of my first auditions for Broadway was the thing that I think is so great about musical theater that's very different from sorry, I'm so blown out, you guys, but my face is not totally ghost looking. The thing that I think is so encouraging about being a musical theater actor, so a student who's pursuing it, is I went to Boston Conservatory and studied musical theater there, and they had open calls for Hairspray for like, I think it was union, but non-union people could audition. And these are things you can just open up in the trades and you can audition for. And I was 18 or 19 years old when I auditioned, and I was totally wrong for Hairspray. I'm probably still wrong for Hairspray. Then my voice is not right for Hairspray. But that was the first time that I met Bernie Telsey's office, which is a huge casting agent. So you guys should probably know that by now. in New York City, and now they do tons of films as well. But they, as a little college student, they asked me to come to New York, and I was going to school in Boston. I took the train, and they asked me to audition for Aida. I was much too young for it, but I think that they like to just get people in their pocket dial, that they have the awareness of the talent out there. And so my point in saying that what's so cool about musical theater is there's still this whole sort of old-fashioned way about auditioning, is you can go to an open call, and you can't really do that here. You can't do it at all here in Los Angeles. Like, they don't have open calls for movies unless it's like a non-union or but that's what's so cool about, you can get up early, wait and for a audition and get casting agents to get to know who you are. And so that was my first, I didn't get the part, but I guess, what's the part in Aida, the wife, she sings "My Strongest, My Strong," that's that song. What's that?
Yeah. I forgot the name of the character.
Yeah. But that was my first musical theater audition, like for, the big stage for Broadway. And I didn't get it, but I just thought it was so cool that I auditioned for something that I knew I really was not right for, but I just thought everyone in school is doing it and this will be fun. The more you audition, just like the more you work, the better you get. You just learn every time you go. And so yeah, my first audition for a Broadway show was actually Hairspray in Boston, but then it led to auditioning for Aida. And then when I did Smash, like 5 years later, maybe 6, the office already knew me. I mean, obviously they knew me from Idol, but they really knew me from me as a college student.
Right.
And
Mark and Scott too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh no, I did the workshop for Catch Me If You Can. So that's how Mark and Scott knew who I was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was they cut the part out. Not because I was so awful, I don't think. Because it was just a small part and they really loved the part. It's the Jennifer Gardner part where she only has that one scene and there was one fabulous number. And so, yeah, I did the workshop for it. And
I don't know that story. That's so
yeah.
good.
Yeah, but that's how I knew Mark and Scott before I even auditioned for. So that's the thing is with auditioning, you can't look at it as like this thing you're auditioning for is the thing you're trying to get. You're just being patient, like you said, Michael, waiting for the right thing. And something's going to come down the line. That's why I always think like this, the younger you can start, the earlier you can get people to know your name and know who you are, the better.
Yep. Do you have time for maybe one question, a random
question?
question?
I got time. I'm not in any rush.
All right. You look comfortable in your leather seat too. That's good.
I'm comfortable.
All right. Let's see who has a question. Aiden, you have a question for her.
Wait for you guys. Hi.
Hi, I was wondering if there are any differences, but what was the big difference for you between going from a show on Broadway to the West End?
Yeah, so I've never, I was just trying to find you on this, I'm like flipping through my phone. Good question, Aiden. I obviously did an open waitress. Oh, there you are. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. I obviously did an open waitress on Broadway, and so I don't have a comparison between like Broadway in that sense and West End, but I do have a comparison between Broadway and West End from a day-to-day basis. But I think that the experience probably opening a show in the West End was very similar. Only the thing I noticed the most between Broadway and West End is that, and maybe it's because I was American and I was a little bit more of an outsider, it doesn't feel like there's as much of a community as there is on Broadway. And I don't mean that like in a disc kind of way to the West End, but it's just really like geographically, right? Mm-hmm. Like all the shows in New York and Manhattan, they're all within like, a block of each other and down the street from each other. Yeah. And the West End is just a little bit more stretched out. So the feeling that I would get when I would come out of like a matinee is, you go to your little local coffee shop and get your sandwich between shows, and you would literally see like girls walking down the street from other shows with their lashes on and like their wig caps on. And there just felt like there was more of a pulse and a community between like the Broadway community and West End, whereas it just is a little bit more separate. And, London is very spread out. So it's just it's a different vibe. But I would say in terms of like the opening, all the tech stuff from what I've experienced in non-Broadway things, it's very, I mean, we had all the same creative American people running the tech. So I would say was relatively similar. There's just like a different feel. Is the thing I would say is the biggest difference, but that's just from my one experience. So
amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kat,
You're amazing.
Thank you so much for being with us today. That is
Yeah, thank you for a big hand.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, darling. Wherever you're going, you look gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye, you guys. I was happy to join.
Thank you, Katharine. She is amazing. Wow.
She is
Wow.
so beautiful and so sweet.